Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I know it is late if you're watching live, but I think there is some news that we should be talking about in the moment, and that is that Everton looks set to appoint VITOR Perreira as the new manager. And this is all over the British tabloid media now. That Farhad Moshiri is ignoring the pleas from the board and is going behind their backs to appoint the Portuguese manager. Now, I mean, I'm at my wit's end with this because I just don't see one good reason why we should be appointing this guy. I mean, I look at his CV and it is, yeah, he's had some success, but it was 10 years ago with Porto in 2010. And then since then, he's been managing in China and in Turkey. So I'm struggling to see where this has come from. It seems like a huge risk, if I'm honest with you, to appoint someone like Vito, especially when you've got Niko Kovac and Frank Lampard and Wayne Rooney available. The thought is that Wayne Rooney is deemed to be inexperienced, and Duncan Ferguson probably a bit too big for Duncan Ferguson at this time. And that Lampard's had 2 interviews now and made a presentation to Farhad Moshiri this week, but it looks like Pereira has edged it. I want to know what people think about this. I mean, I'm on social media, and I had a space. I conducted a space the other night, and I spoke to a lot of Fenerbahce fans, and it was a very, very mixed reaction, should I say? I think a lot of Evertonians are at their wits' end with it all. Some of the comments I've had were that he likes to play 3-4-3, and I just don't think we've got the players to do that. I think you could put Godfrey and Holgate in the back 3 on the sides. They've got a bit of mobility and speed about them, but it's not going to get us out of this mess. And they're talking about a 6-month interim contract. Where is the planning and the longevity in that? I think we should be taking some time to try and find the right man, and rushing into getting this guy who we've spoken to twice before and hasn't got the job. It all seems a little bit desperate. If you've got a comment and you're on Twitter, I won't be able to see it. So you've got to watch us on Facebook or YouTube. Search for Follow Everton if you're on Twitter. David saying the club is dead. It's not a good environment. If you look on social media at the moment, particularly Twitter, I'm active on Twitter, and Evertonians arguing with each other and really unhappy because the campaign tonight, the 27 years campaign, a select group of them went down to the Liver building to hold some banners, and I think a lot of fans were annoyed that they weren't aware of this. But yeah, I don't think there was anything sinister behind that. But Jason saying I'm talking shit. Okay, would you like to clarify that, Jason? Andrew Ford saying, "Are we doomed?" I hope not. I mean, I don't see Vitor Pereira being the right guy to get us out of this mess right now, because it is really quite a desperate situation. We're 5 points off the bottom 3. We play Newcastle next away from home. They've picked up some points recently. Norwich have won 2 games on the bounce. Obviously, they beat us. So it's really desperate. From what I've been told about this guy, he falls out with the better players at the clubs he goes to, like Robin van Persie. He falls out with the players. Jason, you've had a season ticket for 26 years. Congratulations. What is your point? You're saying I'm talking shit. Elaborate why. What don't you agree with? They're saying that he falls out with the big names at the club that he's been at. And I just think that's not what the kind of figurehead you need at the club. You need someone who's going to get the players are going to get behind, that are going to get on with him and going to buy into his ideas. I'm also told he's a system man. And I just don't think we got the time to implement a system. I think it is desperate. There's 18 games left. I'm not sure we got time to start implementing this 3-4-3, which we've never played before in our life, mid-season, with these players who've really struggled with basic formations like 4-4-2. Yeah, it's good that he's won stuff in his career, but I look at the leagues he's been at, the Greek league. It's very different being at a team dominating a league. He's been at the equivalent of the Man Cities, the Greek league, the Portuguese league. I mean, these for the teams that really would be dominating anyway, whether he was there or not. So I'm not seeing anything spectacular. Yeah, he looks like a character, someone like that, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to refer back before I know all the comments are coming in. I'll come to them. I'm going to refer back to what I've been reading and things that I'm getting sent to me on Twitter. We've interviewed several candidates, apparently. Frank Lampard received an interview. We want to go in a different direction from him. Senior executives at the club were hoping that we'd take a step back and make a more considered decision. And I think what that would involve would be maybe Duncan Ferguson for the next few games as well, and then taking a step back to see what's going on. I don't know how we could appoint a manager without a director of football. It makes absolutely no sense. I also saw today we've been linked with Kim Jae-un, a central defender at Fenerbahce, talking about a bid. I think it was 15 million or 18 million. Who's signing off these deals? Who's making these bids while we haven't got a manager or a director of football? Absolutely ridiculous. As good as he looks. We're talking about the deal for Pereira being an interim basis until the end of the season with an option to extend it. Should he keep us up? I mean, it's so amateur. And it looks like Farhad Moshiri basically is doing this on the recommendation of the agent Kia. I don't even want to pronounce his name. I think everyone knows who he is. Is it Joorabchian? The Iranian friend of Farhad Moshiri is advising him to go in this direction and to get in his friend VITOR PEREIRA. For me, what a load of bollocks. It is almost coming across like it's who does the best interview, who impresses him in that moment. He's an eccentric guy. But I think that's not what you need. I think you need to find who's going to be the best for this football club in the short term and moving forward. Because I really don't want a short-term appointment for 6 months. I want someone who's going to come in and build something. That's why I think Frank Lampard, people have said they want Frank Lampard. And I can understand why they want Frank Lampard, because he's a young English coach. He did well at Derby. Didn't get a fair crack at Chelsea for me. He's very passionate about football. The players will respect him as well because of what he's achieved in the game. I think he would be less of a risk than VITOR PEREIRA for sure. They're talking about the protests as well. That happened. It was in the building, the headquarters of the club at the Liver building. A few fans went down there. I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's on social media at the moment. But yeah, what are your thoughts on VITOR PEREIRA being potentially appointed? It does look like that's the manager that Moshiri has chosen, ignoring the board and going on the advice of his friend Kia Joorabchian, who is a leech, by the way, at every club. He ruined QPR. You know, the problem at Everton is, for me, all down to recruitment. You've got to have the right people in the right departments. We haven't got anyone on the board with senior executive experience running a football club. Denise Baxendale, I'm sure she's fantastic at what she does, but background was teaching. And I think it was teaching, and then it was in Everton, the community. It was never running a football club. As talented as she is, I think she was earmarked for the Premier League sort of chief positions. But we need someone with real commercial experience who knows how to run a football club. Bill Kenwright, I don't think he has as much impact as people make out now. I think since Marcel Brands has gone, he's got involvement, of course, with negotiations and player trading. But I don't think he's in control at all. If he was, I think Roberto Martinez would have been appointed. David Moyes would have been appointed before. I think it is Farhad Moshiri. I think it is the agents are in his back pocket. We need to get the people in. We need to conduct the strategic review, get the right people in to the senior positions, like on the board, and a director of football, and allow them to do their job and oversee footballing matters and stop interfering. Stick to what you know. Let's go to the comments. I'm absolutely exhausted with all of this. I'm sure you all are as well. David saying, loved hearing the comment. I would have taken Lampard or a young English manager. Love the video. Thank you, David. I think a lot of people would have preferred Lampard or Rooney, but really none of these candidates are ideal right now. People are talking about Nico Kovac and also Lucien Favre. To me, they all have got pros and cons. I don't think there's anyone who really stands out. I think if you don't know what you're doing, you just hold off for now. Lisa saying, I'd rather have Lampard the board, even listen to supporters. Yeah. Connor saying, I've been realistic, but try to remain optimistic throughout. Honestly, Ryan, we're fucking gone. We're going down, and no way is Ali and other loans joining. Yeah. I think we do need to enter the loan market, though, don't we, Connor? I mean, we talk about Dembele at Spurs and Dele Alli at Spurs, and then Ross Barkley and Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Chelsea. I think we are fairly desperate now. Decore's got an injury. I think we need to get someone in on loan. I don't know who's making the decisions, though. That's the problem. You really don't want to be signing players without a manager, and you don't want to be appointing a manager without a director of football. It's a circus. Kevin's saying we're going down. The table doesn't lie. This is the problem. I mean, we're not 5 games in, and it doesn't mean anything. We're 20 games into the season, and we can't win a game. We can't even score a goal in most of the matches. Jason saying, keep with Duncan. Yeah, we do need a cup win, but I think, again, we're going to end up having to sacrifice the FA Cup this season because we play 3 games later at Newcastle. Ben saying Lampard for me will sort our midfield. Yeah, I think he will know about the importance of a midfield. And I think we haven't had a decent midfield for 5 years. The thing that annoys me is that Carlo Ancelotti said we don't have the players to play a possession style of football, and dictate games. Yet he signed Decore and Allen. I mean, why did you sign them 2 players? If Decore isn't technically great, and Allen looks very much on his way down in a decline. It's a fucking shambles. It's a shambles. Andrew saying need someone with Premier League experience. I think that would be really helpful right now. Need someone who knows the opposition players tactically and knows what to expect from the Premier League. I think Pereira coming in out of work. He's been in weak leagues. Does he know what it's going to be like to play against Newcastle at the St. James's Park? Really? If he's going to come in extremely naive and go 3-4-3 and we're doing it this way, my way or the highway, and everyone getting a bollocking if they don't do it well, it's not going to work with this bunch. They're a bunch of letdowns. Ben says, how can a success... It's very hot in here. What are you eating on? How can a successful businessman like Moshiri be so trigger happy and make decisions so lightly? I don't think he was so trigger happy with Rafa. I think Rafa's time had come. There was not one endorsement for him within the board at the time he was sacked, and probably within the fan base, the goodwill from the fans who didn't want Rafa were fed up with him after the Watford game at home. I think the writing was on the wall from then, to be honest. But making decisions so lightly, I think he really trusts this super agent, Kia Joorabchian. He really trusts him as his friend. And I think he thinks that he needs to make a decision now. Otherwise, we're going down. It's just awfully embarrassing. Jason, yeah, you're spot on. Get Purple Aki in for 6 months. Raymond saying, I don't know what to manager the player support. I think you need a manager with a name as well that's going to inspire your players. I don't know. I don't know whether VITOR Pereyra would inspire anyone. I think the Portuguese-speaking players and the Spanish-speaking players would like him, but we're trying to get like Sir Calvert-Lewin to stay. Regardless, if we go down this season, you can almost guarantee we'll lose our best players. If we don't go down and we finish 16th or 17th, they're going to go anyway. I think we need a manager who's going to inspire this group, send a rocket up the backside, who's tactically astute, and will inspire the players. And and make them want to secure the future at Everton and make them believe in Everton again, because I think the belief is gone. I think that is part of the problem. And the culture is a failure. It's ingrained within the football club at the moment. It's toxic. Someone said to me the players are probably scared to play at Goodison. I imagine they are. Jason saying your head's gone. Your head's done in, mate. Go bed. I know. I'm absolutely exhausted. I did a Twitter space on, did I do it on Saturday night or Friday night? Can't remember when it was, but it was about 3.5 hours long. I think we gained about 60, 70, 80 subscribers on this YouTube channel just from it, from directing people from our Twitter space. And I had all the Fenerbahce fans on it. It was really good, really insightful. A lot of them said, I can read a couple of the comments out really about VITOR Perreira. I think that might be helpful. Connor, hi Connor, he's just sent me a message. I know there's some Fenerbahce fans listening, so good evening. I think that they're a fantastic bunch of people. Bear with me a second. Be good to get a Fener fan on, actually. If there's anyone watching, send me a message on Twitter while I'm here for the next few minutes. Bear with. Someone said that this is TKMT. He said, you'll soon be chanting for Vita Ball. He has really good players in pockets such as Kim and Crespo. And he was the last person to blame at Fenerbahce as to why it was unsuccessful. The media, the board, and the chairman ruined him. Even with the current squad of Fenerbahce, he was doing more than fine. Ozil wasn't ready to play in the games, but the chairman insisted that Ozil played when he was finished. So there has been a lot of support, actually, in fairness, for VITOR Perreira from Fenerbahce fans, and also some Galatasaray fans have messaged me and said that he is a good coach. Stick with me a moment, please. This was another one. He said, this is from another Fenerbahce fan who obviously, Perreira was a manager of Fenerbahce. He said, Fenerbahce fans were pessimistic about Vitor's appointment. His playing style and tactical mentality is a perfect fit for a mid-table club in the Premier League. Well, great. That sounds brilliant, doesn't it? Don't be so desperate with the club's decision. Perreira also knows it's a good chance for him to jump to the top team in the world. Blimey, we don't want to be mid-table. I know we want to be mid-table now, but it's just, it all comes back to the 27 years campaign. I've got so many messages here from Fenerbahce fans. Most of them are in my message requests. Perreira is a great coach with great potential. Gained a lot of Fenerbahce and Turkish fans. I'll be following the club. A Fenerbahce fan said, he likes to play three at the back. He's got a big ego. He wants to be the biggest guy in the club. And he argues with players. Robin van Persie, Nani, Ozil, he'll bench them out of nowhere because of his ego. He's good with the youth. He starts young players in the Europa League. He needed 2 wing backs and he was let down, and he converted 2 outfield players who weren't playing well to wing backs, and they were the best players. And he's good in the transfer market. He signed the Min Jae Kim, who Everton won. He doesn't have a plan B, is what someone said. When we're losing, we carry on playing the same way. This is brilliant. What do you make of all the comments from the Fenerbahce fans? Is that bringing anyone any reassurance? It's very bloody hot in here. Bear with me a sec. Got my Everton jacket on to look professional, but it's just absolutely fine. Pereira's going to work. If they thought Benitez was bad, good morale cannot exist. He will not work as manager. Jason saying we're not going down. I love your optimism, Jason. Burnley, Watford, and Norwich. Yeah, I think Norwich will they'll just default back to where they were. Burnley have got a lot of games in hand, haven't they? And Watford have just brought in Woy. Raymond saying I'm describing Sean Dyche, the only boss I trust to keep us up. Ironically, in another relegation battle with Burnley, he wants to play 3 at the back at Everton. I think it's all right if your back 3 have got a bit of pace and mobility, but we got the players to do that. 2 hotheads on touchline, Rooney and Big Man. Yeah, I think Rooney and Duncan could be a good combination, but people are saying the emotional attachment to the club will be a bit unhelpful. Here's a comment. Here's a really good one. This is from Vita's Coffee. Hiya, mate. If you're watching, just letting him know I'm reading it out. He says, here we go. He's clarifying the situation with what I said before about falling out with players. He said, Robin Van Persie came injured. He wasn't fit to play, and that's why there were some problems. Vita doesn't fold before big names. He does what's right for the team. He said Mesut Ozil didn't play for 2 years. He was really skinny, not fit, barely had any muscles. Since we had 2 games in a week, Mesut played 60 games, 60 minutes, then 30 minutes. And he had problems. He digged his grave with the president and the media. Young players liked him like a father. Vito won't have any problems with anyone at Everton. Problems caused by finished big ego players. I love these Fenerbahce fans. I mean, they were fantastic on the space the other night. Really good insight, but I don't think they quite realise what's gone on at Everton. We've had 5-6 years of very, very poor recruitment, several managers, and it's been an absolute circus and chaotic. And we need someone with a bit more of a CV in Europe, I think. Potentially an English manager. I just don't think. I know you got really good justifications and we'll get behind him, but it's still not enough for me. He was improving the physics of the players. He regrets it. You can come on Victor's Coffee. You can. Do you want to come on and have a chat with me on air? You're typing a message to me on Twitter. If you'd like to come on air and have a chat with me. He said the Super League sucks. We watch the Premier League more. Well, that's good to know, isn't it? Joey's hit the nail on the head. Joey, mate. I know you watch all my videos. Fenerbahce, giant of Turkey. Olympiacos, giant of Greece. Porto, giant of Porto. It's like Pep Guardiola going to Man City, then Barcelona. I mean, it's not even that. These are the dominant teams in each league. Shanghai, giant of China. Didn't he get... Also, he took 1860 Munich down as well. I think it was the impossible job, but relegated them. Brian saying we will never go down. Famous last words, Brian. Here you go. Hi, Emmett. He said it's... I don't agree with the part that he can't get well on with star players, but injured and unfit ones. My eyes are bleeding whilst watching Ozil. He'd have had a massive fallout with James, wouldn't he? Bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm taking this coat off. I'm back. I couldn't cope with that. I know there's 15 people watching on YouTube at this time of night. Thank you very much. Get involved in the comments. While there's people watching, I'll keep it going on. There's loads of you watching on Twitter as well, but if you are commenting on Twitter, I can't see it. You've got to send me a direct message or move over to a YouTube or Facebook stream. Jerry say, if you look at Lucas Dean at the time, we wanted to keep him, not isolate him. Would I take 70 million for DCL? The problem with that is we can't replace him. If he scores 20 goals a season like he did last season, then you wouldn't sell him for any money, really. I think it would cost us 50 million to sign a striker minimum. You're taking a risk. I do think we'll get to the stage where we have to sell players to reinvest money, a bit like you saw with Aston Villa, where they're selling a big player and then they're reinvesting it in a couple of players. I don't think we can continue being like this. I don't think it's sustainable. My mate Ollie saying it's worrying you've gone for someone no one's really heard of when you've got a battle in the Prem. I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think it's the right move for us right now, but I look at the names, I look at the candidates, and I'm making my notes. There's just no, there's no one there. I'm almost to fold. Ollie, who would you pick? No joke, genuinely. If you were an Evertonian, who would you pick? Did anyone know David Moyes before he joined Everton? He changed us. I really hope he can change our ways. Fair enough. Dobbins just as good. Yeah, I think I watched the under-23s last night. I thought he looked really good. Got the headed goal. Looks very bright. Ollie's saying go for Klopp. No, that's not going to happen. Has he got a brother? There's much better options available with much more experience. It's the toughest league in the world, not the Turkish league. We've got players like Stephen Corker and Demba Ba and Sturridge play. You're spot on. I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you whatsoever. Ollie, the best manager for Everton would have been Steven Gerrard, but he would never come in month of Sundays because he's a massive Liverpool fan. But that is the style of manager we need. Is Lampard similar enough? Is that the equivalent? Maddox says if we stay up, yeah, that's the article I read as well. Now, when Lampard went in, he said outright, "I'll keep yous up." All right, guys. You got anything else you want to say? It is late. I'm very tired. I think the situation with Everton is really draining. It looks like VITOR Perreira is getting the Everton job. There's been no final decision at this point, according to Alan Myers, but a lot of the tabloids are reporting that it's a done deal. It's all Kia Joorabchian. It's all him. It's all his work, this. He's a parasite. He signed Iwobi for us. He signed Fabian Delph for us. It's a mess. But look, if it is VITOR Perreira, we have to get behind him because we've got 6 months left of the season, 5 months left, not even that, 4.5 months left. And we've got 18 games to play, and we have to win at least six wins out of 18. 1 in 3. We're going to get 6 wins. This is a good comment coming from Hugh. Hi, Hugh. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I know a lot of new people have joined. We've got nearly 700 subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, support the channel. Hugh saying, are the club putting out Pereira rumor to get an idea of fan response? I said this on my Twitter space, that the club leak a name, watch the fume, and then leak a name just as nearly as bad, but not quite as bad, knowing that the fans will then accept it because they've heard this terrible name. I don't know whether this is more of that. It's a good point. Joe says VITOR looks awful. Thank you, Joe. Andrew saying even if we stay at Pereira in any way, a long-term prospect to rebuild the club, which Lampard and maybe Rooney could have been. Rooney's doing a really good job at Derby, isn't he? Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at what he's had to deal with. Having to sell off his team. Couldn't even keep Jagielka, who was the best player. He had to go, sold him. They had to get rid of him. Stoke signed him. He's 39. They're in a mess, Derby. I think they'd snatch at the money. They'd have no choice because they're in administration, but it would be really harsh. Really harsh. All saying Lampard would do a job. As I read, I can't even bully you right now. Yeah, I agree. You haven't done that. It's so sad. You aren't going down. There's 5 or 6 worse teams. I mean, I'm 28 years of age, and I've not seen us win anything. You know, Bill Kenwright said the other day, and I didn't really like those confrontations. I don't think that was the right way of going about the situation. Everyone just talking over each other. And yeah, I agree. He should be accountable. He's a figurehead of the club. He should communicate with the fans, but wasn't the right way of going about it. Bill said we've had good times. I don't see it. I think we had a few trips to Europe. It's like he's just happy taking part. It's embarrassing. It's a social experiment. Yeah. See how far you can push a certain group of individuals before they start topping themselves. Mabsy's not on the stream, mate. What are you on about? Hugh says, just a way to gauge fan response. Politicians do it with policies in the baby. Yeah. I think we did that with Rafa. We slowly leaked the Rafa Benitez one. We drip fed that to the fan base over a period of time, knowing that over time people's attitudes would settle towards it. And by the time he did get appointed, I think it was more settled. They were desperate then and they weren't sure who to go for. And I think the idea behind Rafa was that it would be continuity. It'd be similar to Ancelotti, and he was settled on Merseyside. Come to be pragmatic, compact, a safe option, proved to be anything but that. Okay, he's sort of victim of circumstance in some regard, but it certainly didn't help himself with his setup. And he was just an irritating character, let's be honest. We'll give it to Dunk till the end of the season. Can't just get a manager straight after sacking one. I mean, you can. Watford have done it, but the problem with us is we didn't know we were sacking Benitez. We should have had someone lined up. We should have made inquiries. We were linked with Roberto Martinez, but he wants to stay as Belgian manager until the end of the World Cup, or would have come to Everton for a long-term contract, not a 6-month deal like we were offering. He's not going to give up the chance to manage Belgium at the World Cup for a 6-month contract at Everton. Let's get real. As much as he feels like there's unfinished business, it was never going to happen. Connor saying Lampard of Eden. Connor, I got your tweet, your message on Twitter before. You're good, man. I know this is quite late for some of our regulars, so it's good to see some new people on here, as well as a few that have been watching our channel since, last March. I'd rather have Rooney or Lampard any day. Thor is saying VITOR Perreira is a smokescreen for Mark Hughes. I love it. That's brilliant. Yeah. Connor's saying I'm 25. The only remotely decent day I've had experience is the 2010. It was 2009, actually, Connor. Sorry. We know how that ended. Yet Lampard, I haven't forgiven him for that. Alexander Katrupi has just subscribed. Hi, Alex. Welcome to Follow Everton. Thank you very much. I think we're on 688 subscribers. Another 6 subscribers since I've started doing this stream. Fantastic. See if we can get to 690 subscribers. Come on. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me. We're going for 700 subs. Ahmet Tekin says, I am planning to have an Everton jersey the second VITOR signs. Unfortunately, do not have a chance to check them in real in Poland. So would you please tell me which jersey is your favorite? White. What kits have we got this season? We've got a really good black one with like a burnt orange on it. It's quite unique. If you like classic design, then obviously you need to go for the home kit. What was our third kit this year? I hated the third kit. No, the white one's awful. It's like traffic signs. Dreadful. Last season's kits were better. If you can get one of last season's kit, but I'd probably just go for the home kit if you want one of this season's. Hugh saying I'd prefer Pereira to Dinosaur Dunk. We're not set up to play long ball. I think with Duncan, it was always gonna be long ball tactics. Let's be honest. That's his style of play. He's an aggressive man. You know, as a footballer, he was extremely aggressive. His football team is playing in the image of him, really. I think on another day we'd have beaten Aston Villa, and we would beat a lot of teams playing that way. Very, very. We played with more intensity. We created a few chances in the second half. It was poor finishing. Yeah, I know we were playing with an outdated formation and a very outdated style, but as Joya says, you know, we've got mediocre players in most positions. Mason Holgate and John Joe Kenny still starting Everton games in 2022. I mean, for God's sake. Michael Keane still being involved. Looked at that midfield. Andre Gomez hasn't played well for about 3 years. He's had a couple of decent games, but not doing enough on a consistent basis. Andros Townsend didn't play well at all. Anthony Gordon obviously looking absolutely fantastic. We've got Damari Gray as well. We need to find a way to get the best out of Damari Gray and Gordon. For me, I'd be going 4-3-3. I'd have Damari Gray on the left wing. I'd have Richarlison coming off the right. I'd have an actual proper right back bombing on to keep the width on the right-hand side, like Patterson. Calvert-Lewin up front. And I'd try and mould Anthony Gordon into a number 10 because I think he can drive with the ball. He's got a decent shot on him as well. So let's see what happens. Wow. I'd love Chris Wilder. Care to elaborate on that for me? Alexander saying thoughts on Vita. I think I've summed it up, really. I think this is a sort of appointment you can't really do mid-season as well because the risk of relegation is really strong. You've got players who've struggled under different managers. I think the problem with Rafa Benitez, these players were not taking his instructions well. I don't feel like they were following his instructions. If you look at a lot of Rafa's post-match interviews, he was saying, "I'm disappointed the players aren't learning." I just don't see how a man who's all about his system, 3-4-3, who he's a systems man, is going to come in and get these players playing in that system with well within such a short space of time when we don't have much time. I think we need a motivator who knows the Prem and he's going to get his arm around the shoulder and get the best out of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. We need to stop conceding goals. Justin, hi Justin. I've followed you on Twitter. I've followed you for a while. You're a good guy. I agree with this. Wingers are going to be sacrificed, but some teams play well with 5 at the back hybrids. Chelsea, for example, it can be a really good formation if it's done correctly. I don't think any time we've played 5 at the back or 3, whatever you want to call it, it's worked for us. I just think it's been naff. With the Patterson one, we've got a natural right wing back now. I think Mikolenko, I know he can't speak any English and he's coming from the Ukraine League. Very untested. I think that was a risky signing. But in theory, we've got 2 fullbacks there who can attack and provide the width, and that would allow the likes of Richarlison to come inside. I think Gray wants to also cut in from a wide position. We just got to see. We've just got to see. What do you think, Justin? Are you happy with the veto? Or if not, who would you have? Kubale Palesta, hi mate. He said, what's all the negative? I think we're all just fed up. You could stick anyone in front of us right now and we'd all be moaning. It's really a bit like that at the moment. But yeah, it's pleasing to hear that, you're saying he's the real deal. I'm going to wrap things up in a minute. Blue News, KD, hi mate. Welcome back to the channel. He said, Dogs of War football will not suit squad. Pick wrong team at weekend. New left back, right back must start each game. We won't beat a top 6 team. We have 12 games to save us. Yeah, shit, I know. But the run-in at the end of the season is really bad. Now is the time. We've got to beat Newcastle. We've got to win both those games against Newcastle. If we don't get a 10, do we have an alternative to playing Gabamin? I think Gabamin's finished, I think he's absolutely finished. I mean, when Tyler Onyango's getting on before you as a senior player, your time's numbered. I think he's never going to be a Premier League footballer, and I think we're trying to get rid of him. I don't know who makes up the 3 because Doucouré's injured. Gomez is very inconsistent. If we don't get a 10, do we have an alter? Townsend could probably play in behind Calvert-Lewin. You could have Richarlison and Gray either side and 2 more deep defensive players. We're shoehorning. We've lost James and Sigurdsson in the space of 1 transfer window. You've got no creativity down the middle. This is quite funny. Thanks, Connor. If we play wingers with wing backs, you only get 2 centre mids. Yeah, but the idea behind this is that one of the central defenders steps out into midfield and the wing backs can come inside, can support the midfield. They're effectively midfielders. So depends if they play narrow or wide. It depends whether it's like a 5-2-3 and then you've still got players out wide. Draining, isn't it? I'm more confident of us stealing results against the top 6. Well, yes, since the first 3 games, our only results have really been against the top 6, nicking a point. The Carlo Ancelotti realised quite quickly last season that we couldn't play an expansive style. Went back to the low block, and that's how we ground out results. We were good at set pieces. We were grinding out results. We played on the counter-attack without any real, genuine pace. And we played 4 centre-backs. But yeah, we were close until the end of the running. Listen, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. I'm absolutely knackered that it's coming up to midnight. I know we could sit and chat about this all night, 42 minutes long. But yeah, that's the situation. VITOR Perreira looks to be the favourite for Everton manager. I've had a lot of support for him from Fenerbahce fans in particular. A lot of support. A few people have criticised him, but there has been a lot of support for him. I think the CV, for me, doesn't scream success for what we need right now because the league's all quite weak. They're not the Premier League. He's been at teams that are dominating. And I also think he's very focused on the systems, and I don't think we've got the players to play that system. But let's just see what happens. I'll update you in due course. I might be back on tomorrow if there's more news. I'm also hoping to host a space. Last space I did one, the one before last, I had like Stan Collymore on it, which was brilliant. I think we had 1,400 people watching live. And the last one I did, I think peaked at 800, which was really good at live watching, listening. So I'm hoping to get on tomorrow evening and do another space with Mabsy. So if you like that and you're on Twitter, come on tomorrow evening, probably around 8 o'clock, and have your say. So guys, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap things up now. Take care. All the best.